Oh, look at us. The all Canada recording. First time.
Woo! Go Canada.
Why?
Mhm.
Why go Canada?
Why
You
not?
don't want to stay here.
Sure, I want my citizenship. That's right.
Exactly.
Let me bring you guys into the creative process. I need your thoughts or something. I'm trying to figure out what title to give this episode. The options kind of reflect my options currently kind of reflect the different things I'm trying to do. So there's the like thematic one,
Okay.
where it's just I can be somebody else if I wanted. There's the I guess funny, I don't know, more in line with Sam Rockwell's speech, but it's the like a little boy's dream, which is what Chelsea says this episode. So there's that option. And then my
Okay.
third option right now is just PayPal, Zelle, Cash App.
I kind of like that one.
Those are
I was
solid
waiting for an option that
options.
touched on that. I think
Those are
that
solid options.
that might be the one.
Should we think about telling you guys the time at the end of the episode which one to go with?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, might as well.
Russian scammers. Okay, let's talk about the podcast. Let's talk about the episode on this podcast. Everyone good? Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, maybe welcome to Debauchery Central. This is
Welcome.
we don't do high-minded severance theories here. Here we talk about
No.
brothers. let's talk about White Lotus.
Yeah. Happy to be here, I think.
Hello and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. The podcast where we consistently choose our own disappointment. That wasn't the intro 5 minutes ago, but as Fabian didn't know, the last episode has been very annoying for me, so I changed it on the spot. This is the podcast where we choose our own disappointments. We're talking about the penultimate episode of the White Lotus season 3, episode 7. And joining me today, fresh from a classic Frank all-nighter, guys, it's Lolade and Ebube.
Amazing. We got clap tracks now.
That's amazing. I love it.
Hell yeah.
How are you guys doing?
I'm
That's the
good.
debut of the clap track.
I just want to say, for the record, I could never survive a Frank all-nighter.
I'm envious. I mean, to be fair, you were fully team Kate.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, she wanted to go
That
home. So
shows you who I am on a night out. No.
Yeah, such things have very much lost their appeal. It seems exhausting to do what he does.
Yes.
So
I mean, he had been a few months out of the game, so he had some. Genuinely, I did a spit take when he was like, "Oh, that's out the window."
That's out the window.
He was like, sobriety. What are you talking about? That's God. I was like, yeah, he's right. It is God.
I was like, that's not what I said. I was like, bro, you can still get it.
No, you can't get this. You can't get being sober again. You can start. You can restart.
Yeah, but he chose to take that.
Yeah, he could have gotten. He said I'll go to the monastery in the morning. So
okay, well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's giving very strong. This is my final case vibes, or the sheriff is about to retire vibes, and then he dies because he was like, "I'll go to the monastery in the morning." I was like, "Oh,
maybe he wasn't even expecting to survive so much since Rick's plan is so half baked."
Let's please remember that because I have thoughts about Rick. When we get to Rick, please remember that because yes, I'm glad it's not just me that was like, Rick. But he's been giving signs of that since last episode as well. But anyway, everybody's here because, well, he just can't stop podcasting apparently. But he's been to Thailand. He's engaged in some frank debauchery. And he said he's open to sharing his experience because this podcast is all about healing. So let's let us know what he did in Thailand. You just have to give us details because I think some might still be open cases. I don't know what the statute of limitations is. So, like, yeah, you can. Wait, what did you do in Thailand when you went to Thailand?
I saw the sights and I met the people.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure
listen
you
that.
did. Just sounds like Frank. Sounds
Listen
like
that.
Frank.
I think.
Frank saw the sights and met the people as well.
Yeah.
Met
It was
them
really good
very-
actually. It was a family vacation actually. Think rat lifts, but wholesome.
If you say so.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they thought going in as well.
I don't know if that's what they thought. Everybody had an agenda. You know, on our end, there was togetherness. We spent like
There's togetherness in Ratty's family as well.
A lot
I think
of
we also
togetherness.
we also spent
They're
more
quite
time.
together.
I think White Lotus is all about people spending time in the resort for a week. I think we were there for 2, and we saw different places. Like similar to Rick, actually, we left the more quiet, luxurious feeling areas and went over to Bangkok. Actually, we started in Bangkok and then went over to Phuket, which was really cool. I definitely liked the place a lot. It had similar vibes actually to Lagos in a lot of ways. I'm not even just making that up. They literally have keke napeps running around, and
I mean, we've seen them in this.
yeah,
we've seen them in
we've
the
seen
show.
them, and they call them tuk-tuks over there. But yeah, it's a really nice place, and I've always been looking forward to going back. Really, a lot of the places we saw in this episode, I recognized.
Do you still want to go back after
Nice.
watching the show?
Yes, because my own intent for what to do on a vacation is still way more chill than anything anyone on the show is trying to achieve.
Don't box yourself in. I believe you can explore things.
Anything is possible, or so
Yeah.
they say.
Okay, let's get into the episode. I don't know how much time we have. Actually, let me go back to you. You're the guest, so you get to speak a bit longer. Just quickly, your thoughts on the season so far, your thoughts on this episode, your general thoughts on this episode. Did you like this episode? We're 1 episode to the end of the season. What were your thoughts on the season of White Lotus?
I did like the episode a lot, actually. This season has been really good. I was listening to you guys address this whole thing of people saying the season is slow, which is, what did you think you signed up for here? This is my question for anybody who's saying that. But I feel like the beauty of this show is that when you start watching it, even from the first season, you kind of get the sense that it's the most interesting show where nothing seems to happen until it does, right? The momentum seems to like increase each subsequent season in its own way. And I think Mike White, he's either a psycho or a genius, maybe both. I don't know where the line is, but
it's a bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, it's like every season he's able to kind of explore a theme and write a bunch of perspectives around it that, you know, give the audience a chance to truly observe, because the show doesn't really let us get close. We are kind of banished to this point of just being flies on the wall always. We don't always know what's going on in the minds of the people. And I like that because we're able to kind of evaluate situations and feel the actual awkwardness that comes from watching people be embarrassed. We're not necessarily feeling empathy for people, not necessarily at the beginning. You know, the show has its tropes. It has these scenes where people try to talk to each other and be like, oh, hey, I think I know you. And that it always goes badly. Like every season, it goes badly. I remember when Dario tried to do it in season 1 and she was like, oh, that Hatchet job article was you? And she was like, oh, wait, no. You know, like that whole thing was very funny to me. And I think the show has this real sense of comedy and it's a real sense of engagement that comes from it, but it's also able to explore really, really deep themes. And you can tell that the show is trying to say something, but it wants you to figure out what it's trying to say, as opposed to it kind of just like laying the message on you. I think this season has done a good job of that so far. I think, you know, we've had a lot of rising action. I think all the storylines are actually moving at a pace that is not just serving the overall like plan that Mike White might have. I think it's also serving, the storylines are serving each other, which the show is doing more of, as opposed to, you know, like season 1. I think it did some of that in season 2 as well.
Lade, I believe you really like this episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to just give your big picture thoughts?
It was a great episode.
Yeah, again, a lot of action, a lot happening, which is what I enjoy. Again, just going off that, starts off too slow, and then you get into like episode 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's just something is happening in every scene. It was a really good episode. I was paying attention, focused. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. I think personally, for me, I felt a bit let down. Not let down, stepped down from like the last two, because I thought the last two were lights out. But I think again, I still think great episode of television, great episode of White Lotus. But I was like, oh, maybe not on the levels of like 5 and 6. And not necessarily because nobody kissed their brother, just like in terms of, I guess, story momentum. But yeah, still on board, obviously, still really enjoyed it. In case people are wondering, oh, that's weird. Bankole seems disoriented. He hasn't talked about the admin. That's true. I haven't mentioned the admin. And so let's do it. Let's do admin quickly. If you're listening to this 10 minutes in and you're like, where else can I hear Bankole's voice? I'm talking about Yellow Jackets. I don't know why else you want to hear my voice. That's weird. Pick your heroes better. But I'm talking about Yellow Jackets. And if you've been waiting to binge Yellow Jacket season, I would say please go watch it now, because if you care about spoilers, there will be big spoilers this week's episode 9, the penultimate episode of the season. So go watch Yellow Jackets, go listen to us talk about Yellow Jackets, Ebube and I. Ebube just finished his coverage of Severance, so please go check all of that out, go listen to that. I hopped in to give my thoughts on the Severance season, which will be out now wherever you listen to this and on YouTube. Yeah, we just kind of like a wrap-up of the season. What else? Last of Us is coming literally in 2 weeks. We will cover that in one way or another. So keep an eye out for that. We'll definitely like kind of let you know how we're planning on doing that. But yeah, so we'll just keep on staying on the HBO train. There are other shows going on, obviously, which we're not covering, but I'll try to get my thoughts out on those at some point over the next few weeks or months. Ebube, you mentioned, and I'm going to open this question to the floor before we go into the actual plot of the episode. You mentioned the themes of this season. What do you guys think are the themes of this season? Because I was trying to think about it and I was like, desire, but that seemed too surface level and also too like we've done that before, especially in season 2. So what do you guys, have there been any themes that like have jumped out? Oh, this is what this show is talking about this season?
I think in general, the White Lotus tries to take something and use it to sort of explore how people utilize it for power, either over subordinates or over like the people in their lives. So I think in season 1, it was something more along the lines of, money and class. It was kind of introducing itself to us. Season 2, it was definitely sex
and power,
and how sex is sort of a tool for those who know how to use it. And, people ended up being victims, people ended up being controlled, people ended up being swindled, things like that. I think this season, we're kind of looking at the power of relationships and nostalgia. I think there is a sense of dreaminess through the course of this season that touches on what may have been the show's original ideas. Like, I think even about the idea of a lotus, right? Like the lotus flower itself is associated with dreamy forgetfulness and unwillingness to leave. It's the idea that you're in paradise. And I think because of that, like one of the themes of this season ends up being ambition. Like everybody's kind of looking for something, looking towards something. You look at the Mook and Guy Talk storyline, like that whole thing is governed by this idea of what can he be and how can he become it in order to be more attractive to her, right? That's kind of where he's going. For Timothy Ratliff, it's like he chased ambition and he kind of won, but then he overplayed his hand and now like the world is crashing down on him. And you have Saxon, who believes that ambition is all that there is. He wants to be like his father, as his mother tells him to be. And he tries to emulate that, but he also believes in all the worst tropes of being macho and how like the strongest men rule the world and things like that. You have Lachlan, who is not sure what he should follow, and ambition is kind of going in different directions for him. Piper is like, her ambition is to be different from her family. She's chasing a sense of peace to avoid the spiritual malaise that was spoken of by the monk. And of course, all the 3 women in the Kun Monahan big storyline, as you like to call it, is those 3 women are very ambitious in their own right. And we look at where ambition has brought them and what is done to their relationship. Rick's ambition is, well, everything that you see, and especially in this episode, and we see how it drives him to make certain decisions. And, Chelsea, Amy Lou Wood's character, is essentially trying to temper him to that because her only ambition is to find love with Rick. So I feel like this is a sense of, where does ambition take you? How does it help you achieve your goals? How does it affect your relationships? And where does power come from in that? And I think we get a good idea of that in this episode when Rick finally talks to Kunjim.
Yeah, well said. Did you have anything to add on that? No. Are you like, oh wow, the servants people are in here.
I'm like,
please. We should be serious.
Let's turn it. Let's turn it down a little bit.
My bad.
I'm just gonna say themes from my point of view. It is the relationships, and like that's what we're looking at here. It's the relationships with the friends, like friendships, romantic relationships in their different forms. Like we have Gary and Chloe's relationship, we have Rick and Chelsea's, we have Tim and Veronica's, like the siblings' relationships. Yeah, Victoria, sorry. Jesus, I'm so bad with names.
You're close,
the siblings and the relationships that they have with each other. And then Mook, Gut Talk, Valentin, Lori, Valentin, Jack, Valentin's friends. Like it's It's I think that's what I'm getting from it personally, and just how they're relating with each other on the different levels.
I agree with that. I think also Ebube's thing about nostalgia also then plays a part with the whole Kun Monahan bib.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about this episode, something that did jump up, and I'm going to talk about it in a second now when we start talking about the storylines, is change and the desire stroke ability to change, right? I think this is the first time the show has actually really kind of gone on that theme headstrong. Before we get into the plots, because the first half of this episode is kind of, he tells the story, he frames it with the Muay Thai fights. So it's kind of like this kind of, I read it kind of like this relationship between these two fighters. These fighters are having a conversation before it kind of like hits a wall. So I'm going to use that, and we're just going to talk about some of the conversations that happened this episode, right? I think some important ones happened. Before that, I want to talk about Fabian very quickly, like 1 minute. Because like everybody's like insulting him online that, oh, you're not Armand, you're not
You're not Armand. People are saying that.
Well, as in like, yes, as a character, you're not as interested.
That's so funny.
I can't remember her character's name from season 2, the concierge. Like you're like, and I do think that's the point, because I think he couldn't make a concierge as interesting as those two anymore. And I think in this case, Fabian is actually meant to be a joke. I might be wrong, but like,
I don't think you are.
If you see the way his performance in this episode, like he's talking to everybody like, oh, I'm doing it. And then it's so funny that, first of all, the day he's doing it, like only 3 members of the cast are there. Like think about like the show intentionally makes it like nobody's there to see his quote unquote performance. And then think about the way the show shows the performance is like he sings for like 1 minute. No, less than a minute. It was like 30 seconds. And then the show just cuts away. But think about how they showed like Mook's dance sequence, or I can't remember her name now, the owner's singing performance in episode 2. So I think Sweetella, yeah. So I think the show, people might be looking at his character in like the wrong way. Like I don't think he's meant to be the exciting marquee guy. I think he's meant to be a joke. I'm meant to like laugh at him, meant to find him funny. I might be wrong. Maybe he'll just sound to be the killer. But no, I just thought that was like, because to me, I've like enjoyed him all season, but that's because like I've been laughing at him, not like looking for some guy that is gonna like,
I don't know, man. Belinda walking up to him and being like, hey, I might die, we might die, help me. And he doesn't. And then he's like, oh, by the way, I'm singing. Like, are you really shocked she's not there?
Yeah. when he went to her, I was like,
looking at him, like, what are you talking about?
Like, how are you feeling this morning? After yesterday when I told you to forget about the person that's trying to kill you and don't call the police. Like, how are you feeling this morning? Okay, let's talk about the actual plot of the show. I want to start with Saxon, Chloe, and Chelsea, because this Saxon pivot was the most interesting to me this episode. I'd like to know, maybe you guys agree on that. But I'll start with Saxon, Chloe, and Chelsea, because Lolade, why don't you refresh our listeners on what Gary told Chloe
Basically, what I got from it is that Gary is a cuck. But essentially,
Well said.
I'll get into it. He has fantasies. Is it even a kink or like a fetish or just what he's into?
Yeah, it's a voyeurism fetish.
Yeah, that's it. That is what it is.
But
But
I was thinking about that, but he
specific to his
doesn't-
parents.
Yeah, because he doesn't necessarily want to watch. He wants to like it's not like he's not trying to stare at you. He wants to catch you in
He
the
wants to
act,
catch
and
you,
then
yeah.
you pick me. So like it's not necessarily like I want to watch you do it, which is
Still.
and then the fact that it came I was thinking about it, I was like, on any other show, this would be the wildest like conversation. But when
Mhm.
you're following like the Rockwell theory, it's like, okay, cool. Like it's like it pales in comparison to, even though it does have similar themes. Like, again, it's like the idea of being watched
Mhm.
and all this kind of like. But I thought, okay, maybe it was Gary lying to her. But I think when you see the way John Grace plays that scene when he cut him, I'm like, oh, actually, no, I think that he was actually being quite honest, even though he,
And
yeah.
yeah, and it reminds me of the last episode because the way he asked her about it, he wasn't questioning her in a way that it's, did you actually do this? It's like did you do this? It's fine, you can tell me. I
Mhm.
just want to know. I'm not going to get mad. And he didn't get mad. He told her to invite him.
Yeah. It's
I
funny
wondered
'cause
if
when
he was actually asking her because from a position of, I know you did it because the deckhands you bribed already told me. So I want to see if you will tell me the truth or not.
Yeah, that was the more sinister read of it, right? It was like the more scary, but I think he was just like, and it's funny because like we all
was just
assumed that he
curious.
was like, he told her about the Belinda thing and he was asking for her help in like
Yeah.
a plan, but he was just like, no, let me tell you my sexual fantasies that come
Yeah.
from when I caught my parents having sex, and now this
Oh,
is what
boy.
I like. Chelsea's reactions in this scene, great.
Lovely. She's
Just-
so
just-
real.
Just great. Like, you know, she's just looking at his like great reactions. Saxon says no vehemently. He doesn't even consider it.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you guys, and I'll ask Ebube, you can give a yes or no if you want. Would start of the week Saxon have done this?
I don't think so.
Well-
I think Saxon's thing, his whole thing, is retaining control of his life because, as he told Lachlan, people just want to be used. They need someone to tell them what to do. He believes that he is the one at the top of the food chain that uses others. So he definitely would not have liked the idea of being used. He's definitely increasingly sensitive to it now after what's happened, because the person that he was teaching lessons to essentially took those lessons and dominated him. And that's actually that's what's spiraling him, really. It's the fact of what happened, but it's also what it means for their dynamic, what it means for how he sees himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all heightened right now. But at the beginning, he was still that person who was in control. Unless we could spin it as, you know, he would have wanted to be seen as in control by taking somebody else's partner. Maybe he would have enjoyed it in that sense. So we could argue for it that way. But I still feel like Saxon is the kind of character who would not feel in control in that situation at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just thought the sexual deviance in him might have wanted to do it. But Lolade, what do you think? Do you agree with Ebube that he wouldn't have done this out of the
he
week?
wouldn't have
Plus,
done
he wouldn't
it.
have wanted a threesome with another guy.
He would have been fine with Chloe cheating
Mhm.
on Greg with him, but not a situation where it's like
Greg is involved.
they all decided to do this.
I want to kind of, because that's kind of the end of it. The main thing is just the story and like in a different episode, like I said, a different show would have spent 30 minutes talking about that story.
Mhm.
But when you compare it to the Rockwell thing, it's like, it's almost quaint. It's like, all right, cool.
This is what they actually even wanted to ask you guys. Like, we said that season 2 was the one that was very heavy on sex as a plot device, as a theme, as a motif.
Mhm.
But is this season pushing the sexual themes a bit hard? Like, I wonder, like, because the way it's doing it, it's like the sex itself, visibly, it's not crazier than anything we've seen, but just the way people speak of it, like the almost desensitized approach
But
to it is like
it's just Rockwell and this scene though, right? Like,
yeah, Rockwell and this scene. I'm just saying, like, do these two things, combined, kind of change or raise the, I guess, the ceiling on where the show is willing to go in terms of making people uncomfortable regarding intimacy?
okay, that second part is a different question, and
I'm
maybe
thinking about the
because
viewer experience.
Yeah, 'cause I think the Rockwell thing is the furthest the show has ever pushed like a thing, right? But I think in terms of exploring sex as a theme, you can't pass season 2 because you remember the whole Harper, Ethan, Megan Fahey, what's his name? The other British guy.
Theo James,
like that
character
whole
named
thing,
Cameron,
like
I believe.
that whole thing, they really kind of really went, and obviously there's the whole thing with the sex workers as well. Like season 2 was really about sex and power. So as a theme, I don't think you can pass season 2. But I do think, yes, I do think the Rockwell one, and even this one, I know we're downplaying it as a joke, but like even this one, in terms of descriptions of fantasies and fetishes, whatever, like this is, I think this is the most the show has ever pushed the limits, right?
Yeah.
This is like season 2 wasn't really fetish stuff. It was just sex. It was either maybe it was like covert in terms of you're cheating or you're paying for it, but like it was just sex. This is more taboo. Maybe that's a good way to put it. Yes, maybe, yeah. So you go to Italy, you have sex in Italy, but you go to Thailand, which is well known for its sex industry, sex worker industry. There is more taboo. There you start talking about the taboo things, the kinks, the things that you hide from your friends and your partners. So I think in terms of pushing the envelope, yes, definitely. But I don't think it's as focused on sex itself as season 2 was, in my opinion. So Chloe seems very disappointed, which I was just like, why are you just disappointed? Just find another guy in the party. Like, it doesn't have to be him. Like, why are we like it's not, I don't know, for me it's like it'd be very easy for you to find another guy in the party. But
I do think that Greg wanted it to be Saxon though.
Someone that
if you remember the dinner,
someone that has a history, it's not just a random person.
Yeah, and like
that makes sense.
Even the whole history between Chloe and Saxon from episode 2, where they're looking at each other over dinner, and Greg is like side-eyeing her, and then the boat party, and then the famous threesome. It had to be Saxon.
It had to be Saxon. Yeah, that makes sense. So Chloe, Chelsea and Saxon. No, Chelsea, Emily Wood. You see, this is the thing. I still maintain that these names that are wrongly named. I mentioned that the theme that dropped out on me this episode actually was that of change, and I think I have a more sympathetic read on Saxon this episode than I think both of you. And so when he says that thing to Chelsea, when he says that thing to Amy Lou Wood, I could be somebody else if I wanted, right? I think that, and the reason, like I said, I considered it for the title of the episode is it then reminded me a lot about, on one hand, it reminded me about like the Kun Monahan babe conversation from last week, where she's just like, no one ever changes. Where the same people were in high school. But I was like, oh, is Saxon going to be this season's embodiment of change? Not that he would actually change, but whether he can or cannot change. Because like no one else really is having that, is really going headstrong on that kind of metamorphosis. Like Rick is there. We still don't know what happens with Rick. If he's like that smart, he gives another episode. We'll talk about Rick, obviously. It's like, is he going to go down a different path or not? But I don't know, like, is Saxon going to come here and leave? I shudder to use the word better when it comes to White Lotus, but like, is he going to be a different person, or is he just
assuming he lives? Yeah, but
so assuming he lives, because like, there's one thing where he fights with the idea of changing and says not to change. That still works for me. But I'm like, would he actually even consider the idea of change? When he says that to Chloe, to me it seems genuine, and it's like, maybe again having been a more sympathetic, like seems like
you're right. I think he has considered it. I think he has considered it, but I would still put it through that lens of, desire, nostalgia, ambition, control. This guy is saying what he's saying in the context that if I haven't changed, it's because I have not made the decision to change and I could change at any time. So he wants to believe that that's a thing that's under his purview. He doesn't feel like he's the kind of person that can be changed by external forces. And I think that's where the conflict is for him, because this whole time he believed that he was choosing to be who he was. But now he's essentially going through an identity crisis and is wondering how to approach what seems to be like changes that are being kind of pushed onto him by his surroundings and, you know, his environment, his relationships, things like that. So I get that sense of empathy there. And I do think that there's an emptiness, but it also comes from the fact that this identity crisis is also being fueled by her calling him soulless. Because through everything that's going on and all this control, he's like, is this making me seem like somebody who is completely, devoid of emotion or genuine deep thought? Like, is that how I'm perceived? He's finally considering the notion that people are not perceiving him as a strong man, that they're perceiving him as kind of an empty vessel. And that's where the problem is for him right now.
Yeah, and Lolade, I'm going to go to you now, but I'm saying, like, I agree with you, but isn't that, if that is the reason why he's, like, considering change, I don't think he will actually change. But if he's considering changing, then it still goes to the point of, like, he's considering it.
I do think he's considering it,
yeah. Lolade, what do you think?
I don't think so.
Do you think it's
you
all
feel like
chat
it's an act, essentially?
It's an act. And he's said this from the beginning. He sees Chelsea as someone he needs to make like him or get along with him. He's trying to get into Chelsea's pants. Let's be serious here. I don't think he's trying to change. And he might be going through an identity crisis, and I do believe that's what he's going through. We'll get to the conversation he has with his dad. But actually meaning it and wanting to do the work or saying,
I don't think he means it.
No.
I think he's considering it in the sense of like what it would be and how his life is going forward. But that doesn't change the fact that he wants to be in control, and he's kind of he's trying to be the person that she would prefer, essentially. So it is an act, but I think that it's just one of those things that, you know how like you make a joke, but like there's a little bit of like truth inside that joke. This is kind of that.
Yeah, I don't think he can ever do the work. But I do think he can.
He's emotionally bankrupt, essentially.
Consider changing because he thinks like that's what's needed. That could be because he thinks that's what's needed to get into Chelsea's pants or to present as a better person or whatever. But I do think he can be like, oh, maybe I need to. And then let's actually take this to, we'll come back to Chloe and we'll come back to Amy Wood and Saxon in a second. But let's actually take this now to the Tim and Saxon conversation because he's not the first person to like outrightly call out Tim on acting weird.
Yeah, and I just want to say I was right again. Sorry.
How did it take this long?
About how Saxon is truly the only one who can see something going on with Tim. And I was happy he pulled him aside to have that conversation because it was needed. Yes, Tim still lied, but it's quite evident that something is wrong. And I like that Saxon pulled him aside and was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Even though it was like personally motivated.
Yeah, it was personally motivated, but again, maybe I'm being too sympathetic in the way I'm reading this. I do agree with you. It was personally motivated, but at the same time, I was like, what's wrong? I think the only thing that can make you this weird is work. So what's wrong with work? Like it starts with what's wrong, and then it ends up being like what's wrong with work. Like it's like I think if they didn't work together, he would have still asked the question. And he says something. He says, if I'm not mistaken, he says that his career is tied to his dad's career. And he's okay with that.
He's okay with that, by the way.
Which is a great, I'm sorry, I didn't even think about it when I was writing my notes, but it's a great line for Mike White to give Arnold Schwarzenegger's son to say.
Yes.
Like, it's
got that,
so good, especially this whole Nepo baby discussion. Because even, I don't even mention it, but Sam Nivola, who plays Lachlan, is also a Nepo baby.
Really?
Yeah. Have you watched The Brutalist?
Not
Have you watched Craven the Hunter?
Okay, yes, I have seen that one.
You have seen Craving the Hunter. Like, gee, I wonder why, because of the shirtless Aaron Taylor Johnson and
No, I just
Brutalist.
really like action movies. What are you talking about?
So the guy who plays the Rhino, so he's also in the Brutalist. That's Alessandro Nivola. That's his dad, and he's also married to I think his mom's Emily Mortimer. I think. So he's like a double nepo baby.
No, good for him.
Almost as much as Patrick Swayze, because that one has Kennedy in his family line as well. But anyway, so to be like, my career is tied to yours and I'm okay with it. So like, just let me know if something is wrong. And he says, if I'm not a success, then I'm nothing. And I can't handle being nothing. And I think this is why I'm having a more sympathetic read on him this episode, because it's a very self-aware statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, he could have ended it at just been, then I'm nothing. But he was like, but I'm not okay being nothing. So I'm willing to do what it takes to not be nothing. And again, I'm not saying he's like become the best person in the world. I'm just saying, like, I can understand.
But it's quite a level of vulnerability that probably the audience didn't expect him to be capable of. And the fact that he shares it with his father is interesting too.
Exactly. Even what he says to Emily Wood, where he's like, what does he say? Why are you always mean to me or something?
Yeah, why are you always mean to me?
Compared to last episode when he was like, why didn't you want to hook up with me? Like, it's like two very different questions. Like, so, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here. And again, I think Patrick Swayze plays it very well in where he's not doing the cocky thing when he's asking those questions. In this episode, there's a lot more kind of emotional and vulnerable. Like you said, Tim lies to him. I still think like the money thing will blow over by the end of the season. Like, I just don't think.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like, I don't think they're going to end the season poor. I think something bad will happen. And I think the whole point is to show how like it's affecting Tim and what Tim will end up doing. But I don't know, like, the show has so far not really punished rich people so far. Like, I just can't imagine they just end up being poor.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he's not been on his phone for like 4 episodes is probably quite like, there's probably stuff happening that he doesn't know because he's not on his phone.
Yeah.
So like, I won't be surprised if like, he just finds out like it's okay. Like, somebody took the fall or something, but like it's not as bad as Tim thinks it's going to be.
I mean, but it's possible that the punishment will be psychological and emotional.
Yeah, I think what is happening now is the punishment.
That's what is happening.
He hears this, right? Yeah. And he hears Saxon say this, and right after his wife tells him that she can't handle having nothing.
Exactly, yeah.
These are the people that he's supposed to lean on. So it's like, okay, what am I to you people? Do I even matter? Because he's also going through an identity crisis in that way. He looks so delirious, by the way. I don't know how Jason Isaacs, it must be exhausting to look that tired.
Like, if you go back and just watch the first episode, his posture, the way he sounds, his face,
different.
It's so different.
It's so different. It's amazing.
So they said Rockwell is, I guess, spoilers for next week. Rockwell is going to be in the finale because they said Rockwell is in too many episodes to be a guest actor this season. He's a supporting actor, because if you're in more equal to or more than half of the episodes in the season, you have to be a supporting actor. So he's going to compete in supporting actor. And usually all White Lotus actors compete in supporting. So I think Isaacs will be there as well. So I do think it will be between Isaacs and Rockwell for the Emmy, because I think Isaacs is doing a great job.
He's doing fantastic.
This season. Like,
he's literally nothing like what you would expect him to be.
He's doing amazing.
Even the way he gets that specific accent.
Yeah. I mean, Lolade and I have been pro accent work since the first episode. Like, everybody was like, what are you doing? Like, we're like, no, we think it's correct. we had no frame of reference. We just thought it was fun. So, but I think like, in terms of like, he like, at the point I thought he was going to slump and die.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, oh, he's not here. He's not on this mortal coil. So, I mean, he obviously lies to his son again. Let's go back to Emily Wood and Saxon, and we'll kind of wrap up this here. Because they go back, he says, I can be a better person, teaching meditation. They go back to her room, and he does something where he touches her hands. Weird again. It's like, this is one where I don't really know how to read it. His own move first, because like, he didn't do it in a way that like, he did it with intention of like, we know why he's doing it, right? To kind of flirt with her
Get
and
close,
seduce
yeah.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also didn't do it in the way that people do it when they're trying to, like, I don't know how to put it. I really don't know how to put it. Like, it seemed like he was considering not doing it, and then he did it. But anyway, for me, the more important one was Emily Wood's reaction. Because she doesn't, like, shut it. It's almost like she's surprised by the feelings that she gets from him doing it. Is that, like,
Yeah.
is that what you thought?
At the same
That's
time, she's the
exactly
queen of
what
boundaries.
yes. She kicked him out because she felt something
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't want it to go further. She was creating a boundary, which is good. Good on her for that.
I think on some level, she also kind of doesn't want to see herself as the kind of person who would be into Saxon.
Yes, for
specifically.
sure.
I think this
For
is
sure.
Because he's a
the period
wanker.
where this is a period where I do something brave, guys, because if nothing else, I'm a brave podcaster. Everyone else is 100% on Emily Wood. I'm kind of like
I'm
97.
not.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's not just me then. Because I'm
I
just like,
told you,
100% in
I've
terms of
told you
what?
from the beginning,
Like-
on her, like as a like they like the character and they think she's
Oh.
a saint and she's just the
Yeah.
best character. No,
Oh,
and this
okay.
episode proved to me that again, my feelings on her were correct.
Oh, this is why it's good to be a hater. Because when you're a hater, you find out that you have other people that are hating with you. But if you don't outrightly say you're hate, you don't know that people are on your side. Lolade, go on, cook, go ahead.
Okay. Her character, this episode specifically, I think the conversation she's having with Saxon back at Greg's house, where she
Mhm.
talks about her relationship with Rick. I
Mhm.
have a problem with people who think they can save people or they can
Okay.
fix them. You can't
Mhm.
fix anybody. You can't even fix a man. And that being the reason why she loves him. She's like, I see a sadness in his eyes
Mhm.
and I just want to fix him. I know I
He's
can
my
make
baby.
it better. He's my baby.
Yeah.
That is what?
Is it love
was-
or is
I was-
it a self-given obligation?
I was
Yeah.
thinking Munchausen by proxy. Obviously, it doesn't work one by one, but that was the
Mhm.
closest thing I could think of. Just like, are you trying to feed off his pain? Like, are you trying to
It's
yeah, okay. I'm not.
But it links to a different theme in the season, though. This idea of showing affection
mhm.
from a place of strength is kind of like this domineering love, and we see most of that in the storyline with the three friends.
That was exactly
But
what I
it's-
was thinking about. Yeah,
but
when you
it's
said
but
that.
it's literally like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like, you are like Rick, you are so spiritually not there.
Mm.
Mhm.
I can help you get there. And because, by the way, I'm the kind of person who can help you get there, I'm the kind of person who would love you, I'm the kind of person who would avoid Saxon, I'm the kind of
Yeah.
person who would see Chloe for all of her positives and who she truly is inside, despite what she may or may not have done in her past.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost as though
I also don't
the
judge.
show is subtly, yeah, exactly. I also don't judge. So the show is trying to get us to see her like just very subtly, and it's cool the way they've done it.
Mhm.
It's like everybody is overtly asserting their virtue signaling, but she is like, it kind of is ingrained in the way she just approaches life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, it's little by little, it's been coming out. It's like, would you actually love Rick this much? Would you be this interested in Rick if he wasn't someone you could save, someone you could
She
essentially
would not.
essentially love benevolently?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
She's giving a milder version of Tahani from the Good Place, where like it's packaged in the right
That's a good
way,
shout.
but
Yeah.
like okay, because everybody's like, obviously
They
like
love
we like
her.
the performance and like we said her reactions are great and
Yeah.
everything. But I'm just like she's not like I kept on like, wait, guys, so you guys don't see anything weird about this character?
Yeah.
It's just me. So okay, I'm happy it's not. I was like,
yeah,
like,
she's a
why
bit
are we-
too aloof to be.
but even she has so many, like, I know we joke about the soulless line, but that's a
Mhm.
crazy thing to say
To
to
say to
somebody.
someone, it's insane.
That's like, she has so many cutting lines to Saxon that are just so
Even-
uncalled for.
Even after after Chloe says what Gary's into, and she's like, like a little boy's dream. Like, that
And
is.
then he's like, I'm not into that. She's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Like,
And he's like, no, I'm not.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe it's not, okay, I'm happy it's not just me. That was like, this is, anyway, as you guys know, Ebube has a lot of things to do, so he might not be here for the 11th episode. So, Ebube, why don't you tell me? We finished with Saxon, I think, unless anybody has anything to say about Saxon. What other conversation, storyline, character really jumped out of you this episode that you want to talk about?
I guess I'm always into the staff storylines in the White Lotus. I think they do a good job of grounding us in what's happening and how they're affected by everyone else too. So I kind of had this question of whether Mook is disappointed for Guy Talk's sake, or she's disappointed that she won't get to be with the bodyguard. Because she kept saying more and more things at the fight, right? Almost trying to justify violence in an episode that was working so hard to get across that violence is not the answer.
I just realized I might come off as sexist now if I come as anti-Mook as well. I'm not
anti-Mook. I'm just wondering, where does her love for this guy, if it is love, where does it stem from? Or is it just like, let me give him a shot, because it's the kind of thing where like, you tell somebody, I like you, Mook, I want to give you a life. And she's like, are you stupid? It's like, bury this guy's head in the ground now.
I think she is disappointed. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
their
like,
dinner.
Or for herself. Or for him.
Is it for herself or for him or both? Like, because it's different, because those are two different things. It's like, if she's disappointed for him, it's like, she's like, I thought you had more ambition than
that
this.
Is exactly what I wrote in my notes. That
right?
is exactly what I wrote in my notes. The conversation they had at dinner, and her response to him was basically, oh, I thought you had potential. I thought you had ambition.
But, so, not to cut you off, sorry, have you guys seen Carry On? Have you guys seen the Taron Egerton film?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. So, this was what I was thinking about during this conversation. His fiance wanted him to be ambitious, like for him. Because even when he's like, oh, I'm getting promotion, she's like, okay, but that's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the thing that like gets you up in the morning. In this case, I think Mook wanted Guy Talk to get a promotion because she wants to be with somebody who has that
ambition,
reputation, and that level.
And I suppose we can't necessarily blame her for that.
Yeah.
Like Guy Talk is fine. He doesn't want, like, he's not.
And that's what I'm saying. Does he want the things he wants because he wants them, or because he believes she wants somebody who wants that? And is her disappointment like, I'm sad for you that you're not getting that which is good for you, or I'm sad that, like, because you haven't gotten that which I think is good for you, we're not going to work.
Yeah, the latter, in my opinion.
It's the latter. Yeah, it's the latter.
Because he's fine.
That's how it felt.
He's not struggling.
Happy. Yeah, he's happy where he's at. The whole point he wanted to be a bodyguard was to impress her, because he saw her flirting, them flirting with her, and she was receptive to it. The first time he got the gun and he told her, because he thought it would impress her.
And then proceeded to leave it behind so someone could take it. Yeah. But, I suppose that's not the podium I'm on today.
He's not my cup of tea, but...
We've gone through that Guy Talk. Your performance is
was screaming. It's good that I wasn't on those episodes, because good God Almighty.
Yeah, I mean, but Mook, I've had this thing from Mook from the beginning as well, where it was like, she just did it. Again, I don't want to come off as if I'm woman hating, but it's just like, it was just... She wasn't fully on board, and then it was like, when he thought he was going to get promotion, she started getting more interested. And like, even now, like, she just stops eating when he says, I'm like, he has very valid reasons for not wanting, like, it's like...
And it's a dangerous line of work, by the way.
But that's what she's attracted to.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, and it's also something maybe I'm wrong, I don't think he's cut out for. Like, even the security guard what he's doing now.
It seems he has the skills, but
he has the skills. Like, he doesn't have the he doesn't have the disposition, I think, for it. He doesn't have the temperament for it. Even it's something he could do, and because of that, he's like, okay, let me try and do this. But I feel like he would rather be doing something else.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, he'd probably just rather be fishing, and like, this Mook was another one who was just like, I just feel like he's liking the wrong person, and I get it. We've seen her face. Like, I get why he's where he is, but it's just like, yeah, this is clearly not someone that, like, she's not for him. She's like for, like, I think she likes him as a person, 100%. Like, I don't think she's. I'm not saying that she would just go for anybody that is rich, But I think she's like, okay, I like you as a person, I like you as a friend, but to go that extra level, you kind of need to, not in these words, so I don't want, but this is the best way I can put it, but like, you need to be able to provide a particular lifestyle. I don't think she means it like that, but just like, that's kind of the area that
you have to kind of shoot for the stars, I suppose, and she wants somebody who would do that. And like, it reminds me of a time in my life where like, I wanted to get certain things, but obviously there are obstacles. And I mean, it's kind of a long story, but in the end, I wasn't able to get what I wanted.
I thought we were going different parts with that anecdote. I thought it was going to be a time in your life where a woman was making you want to get certain things. And I was like, let's cancel the recording. Let's talk about that.
I mean, you know, let's just say that in the end, I wasn't able to kind of get what I wanted because like there were just obstacles I couldn't overcome. Like I had to get like literally $10,000 and
I mean, speaking of US dollars, would you have taken the money that Greg offered Belinda?
That was a great segue.
Thank you.
I yeah, just
you teed it up really nicely.
It was an alley-oop. Yeah, it was an alley-oop.
Assist and goal. Well done.
Yeah.
Good job.
I was like, is he gonna take it? Is he gonna do it?
Imagine just like, oh yeah, so about Rick. No, yes. But yeah,
because I mean, it's not like I'm out here chasing random older white ladies for $10,000, but you know, apparently it's lucrative. So
it's like, I mean, look, I'm not shutting down any option right now. Anything that can get this podcast where it needs to go. If you're an older white woman and you want to offer,
donate.
If you want, I can do work for the money. It's not free money. Like just
plus, I have PayPal, Zelle, and Cash App.
But yeah, would you have taken the money if you're Belinda?
Oof. Jeez, that's a good question, man.
Well, did you have your answer?
Yeah.
You would have taken the money, like.
I would have taken the money.
I think I would have taken the money because,
sorry,
in a sense, right? There. I want to say that I wouldn't have. How do I put this? I kept telling her through the screen, you should take the money, because even though I may not know from my own situation, I know her situation, which is a crazy thing to say, but I know her situation more than mine. Yeah. And in her situation, she doesn't necessarily have evidence that he did.
She has
whatever.
plausible deniability.
She has plausible deniability. Yeah. This will not be linked to her.
Yeah.
This is essentially him keeping a promise that was made by the wife, which people in her life even know. So like, this is basically like, your life could be changed here. And the only thing standing in your way is that you want to punish somebody who was responsible for the demise of somebody who wasn't even that nice to you. You're still recovering from what this lady did to you.
Yeah.
And essentially it's like what this man is going to do could atone for that and give you a chance at the life that she promised you. What exactly is your reason for turning it down?
Yeah, no.
So that like what moral thing is it? Like you literally have a son who's in college too. Like,
yeah, I think when he was like, no, you wouldn't be tied to like accessory to murder. No, you. That's not how it works.
Yeah. This is not how. Literally, yeah. It doesn't go like that. Like you have nothing to do with this. You barely would have, like nobody even knows anything about the link between the two of you.
Yeah.
And even if somebody finds out that she took the money, it probably would be seen as an original thing from Tanya as opposed to something from Greg.
I think the only thing I'll do is I'll try to make sure the money transfer is as legit as possible. Like, don't give me $100K in a brown paper bag, because then I can't really explain
let
that.
Let there be a paper trail for it.
Yeah,
essentially.
But I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, are you trying to find? Why? You're not Batman. Why are we trying to solve Tanya's murder here? Just money.
You don't need to do that. Like, this is not the reason you're here. And I know perspective is everything in this show, but I wonder if she needs to kind of adjust hers, because I feel like there are things that are important to her that this whole thing is distracting her from, maybe.
Well, her life and her son's life. Like, again, taking the money is like her son says, is the easiest way to know that this guy is like off your back.
They could even frame it. They could even frame it as, an literal original promise, investment in the business she wants to start.
Yeah.
Which now she can actually start with somebody who knows what to do. Like the offer from Poncha is interesting because, sure, like it is kind of forward because, bro, she only just got here. You also only just got here in this whole dynamic.
When you know.
I guess, but, to come up with like a business dynamic like that is interesting. But at the same time, Tanya wanted it for self-serving reasons. And she's like, okay, I like what you do. I want you to do it more for me. Do it at scale and, I can make money. But this guy is like,
Tanya,
this is so much easier for us to do here
Mhm.
because of the environment we're in, because of the type of people who come here, and because of the skills that we have. And he's saying it from the perspective of somebody who doesn't even know that $100,000 is on the table. So imagine she got that investment, like literally her life could be changed here. And
Especially she
she's
moves to
essentially
Thailand.
putting
I'm
it on
not
hold
saying she
has
due
to.
to some moralistic allegiance to Tanya, who
Yeah,
had
and it's
no
like,
care for her in the grand scheme of things.
you didn't
And
even
I
know she
just
was
wonder
dead.
if that's wise.
It's not.
It's not wise at all.
It's just not wise.
Yeah.
It's just
not.
not wise. I'm glad we're all agreed on that. Okay. Piper and Lachlan. They have a conversation in bed. Weird statement to make, considering who we're talking about. I'm so scared because when she came to the room and Lachlan was shirtless, I was like, oh, fucking hell. Wear a shirt, man.
It's hot, by the way, just so you
Why?
know.
I know there's a reason, just like, again, I'm scared. Why? Who wants to try and decipher Piper's hesitancy towards Lachlan saying he wants to come?
To me, it read like this is something she wanted to do on her own.
Okay.
And he's
That was
crashing
where I
her
was
party.
as well. Like, this is my thing.
Yes.
And I was like, it would be so hilarious if this is the reason Piper decides not to do it. Like,
It would be so funny.
Because essentially
so
she's
funny.
not the special, unique,
Yeah.
spiritual one who is going against the grain anymore.
Yep.
That would
So-
essentially show that this was always an empty pursuit.
Yep.
Like,
But
It's
I
'cause-
mean, there's a chance that, there is some depth in what she's looking for here, right? She's aware of the quote unquote spiritual malaise. And at the very least,
Mhm.
she's trying to seek something greater than herself.
Mhm.
That in itself is commendable, right?
mhm.
But now we're in a situation where somebody who actually looks up to you is trying to follow in your footsteps, and you're like,
Yeah, like no, this was my thing. This is like,
it literally keeps her up at night.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, their mother would be so happy because if she chooses not to go, it's like, I achieved my goal, but it's not because of like the place.
Yeah.
Because she's
I
probably
mean-
still going to end up losing one child. I feel like, what if, Lachlan ends up being the one to stay here? But
he doesn't have the balls. He can't stay there himself. He can't pull it off.
Cannot.
not on his own, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he can't stand up to his family. Yeah, I was just like, it's so funny she's made this whole thing about how she wants her identity weirdly to be being anti the family.
Yeah.
So like, if somebody else is anti the family, then it doesn't work because
Yeah.
it's meant to be my thing. I was like, this is so funny because like, this is, I could have written a list of 10 things of why she wouldn't go ahead with this thing, and this would
It
not have been
wasn't
one
that.
of them because like, Lachlan is like, I thought you'd be happy because logically she should be happy. But I was just, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this is so funny. This is the reason she ends up not doing it. Was she embarrassed by him at dinner?
She was.
Okay. That was another thing that I was trying to kind of gauge.
It's very real that when your brother is misbehaving in public, you're like,
But you were just trying to eat his
she
rice.
says
He was
24
picking
hours
at
before
it.
before she sees her brother. It's like,
it's
"Should I
just the
send him this
reality.
podcast?"
It's just the reality of having a brother.
Yeah, she was and then is it a silent thingy?
What do you mean?
Like, is the place a silent? Because they're not talking at dinner. It's like a silent monastery.
They're probably trying to be meditative, yeah. I think it
You
was supposed
think?
to be. It seemed that way just because nobody was really interacting. But then again, a lot of these monasteries, good parts of their day are spent in silent meditation.
Mhm.
So maybe this was kind of akin to that.
Okay. Kun Monahan babe.
Yeah.
Why
They
not?
have a blow up, which has been building, and I think it's not the
Mhm.
end. Will the Dave thing come back? What do you guys think in the finale? Hell of a bomb to drop. Kate was like, "What are you talking about?"
I don't think it will, specifically because it's Kate. Do we all know how Kate is? She
So you
won't
don't
bring it up.
You don't think this holiday is going to make Kate be like, "Fuck it, I need to say something"?
She will, because we saw what happened at the end of the episode where she tries to talk to Jack, and she's like, "I
Yeah,
defended
but
you." blah,
there's
blah,
one more. There's one more episode. That's what I'm trying to say. I think
Fair enough, but I
think in
don't
the
think so.
finale-
Kate, I don't have any expectations from that lady. No.
this is like, you can't go back from this with Laurie and Jacqueline, right?
No, there's no going back.
Like, obviously, I'm saying they can still be friends, but like, you can't do the fake acting anymore. Now, things are said.
No, yeah. There's no going back.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, Carrie Coon, man. I can't remember what Kate says. I think when Kate's like, you choose to be disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
The reaction she gave, I know it's going to be a joke. Like, I know. Like, the way she takes a step back, it's like, oh, okay. And she just goes, well, you're fake and you're self-centered. And I was like, oh, okay. They unleashed Coon. I mean, they unleashed Coon last week. But like, I was like, okay, cool. And then she goes to the fight. And then she sees we should mention that our theories are confirmed.
Yeah.
Valentin and his friends did the robbery, and we kind of assumed that we didn't say it. I think we said in the podcast. Maybe
it seemed like Laurie knew, but I wonder how she would.
No,
I think she saw the
jewelry and then she realized. But I didn't.
That's what I mean. Like I think she saw the jewelry and realized, and I'm just like, she didn't necessarily know about the robberies. Not like she was there. Right?
Yeah,
so
I
it's
don't
like,
think...
how would she see the jewels and then be like, oh, it was these guys?
Oh,
I'm just wondering,
maybe
I didn't know that was on her mind.
Yeah, maybe she just thinks he's like a thief.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think she's put everything together yet. Maybe something happened in the finale and then she'll put it together. Maybe she doesn't even. Maybe that was just for us, the audience, to see it.
Before we get to the fight, though, I do want to talk about the things that were said in that blow up. Jacqueline was a downright cunt. She was a bitch. And the things that she said to Laurie, those are nasty, nasty words. If she basically said, oh, if everything is a disappointment, like you're choosing it and you're doing yourself, like this is these are the consequences of your decisions. That's a very nasty thing to say to someone you call a friend.
It does bring up this question of how much accountability Laurie does take in her life. I think on some level that is a fair question, but to approach it with this level of cruelty is wild, also, to say the least.
She was really
the bad
cruel.
Things that happened. She got divorced and she lost a promotion. It's not like you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
her life is still progressing. She's still like...
she has a good career. She has a good life.
Like,
these are normal things. She was nasty.
Yeah, she
just
was. And then,
nasty.
And then Kate chirps in with when you know somebody for long enough, you kind of...
Flipping Kate.
Can I add that Kate wearing glasses is just a great touch? I just don't know why, but it just makes that character work so much better. Like when she takes off the glasses to talk, I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just a great thing that works. But Kate chirps in and I guess she picks Jacqueline, which I'm assuming she kind of has always done.
Does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think since high school, she's always kind of picked Jacqueline.
Yeah. And she knows it too. She knows that she does that too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see I was going to say out of any other story, like maybe the Radcliffes, but I'm very, very interested to know like the final frame of this story. Like in the finale, what's the last time we see these guys? Like, is it like everybody goes back to just being fake and acting like this week didn't happen? Or are we at the point where everybody's saying what they really feel? And it's just one of those things where I'm just like, what actually happened? Does one of them die? I don't think so. But like, the show has not really done anything where a main character dies. I still don't think somebody important, quote unquote, is going to die. But yeah, but anything else in that back and forth that you want to kind of touch on? Because you're clearly team Laurie.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to call Jacqueline a bitch and a cunt on record. That's it.
That's good. Ebube, who did you support in that back and forth?
Definitely Laurie. I just think Laurie needs more support, and you can see from the way these people interact that Laurie has essentially built herself to be somebody who has a thicker skin than the others because she's not used to getting support.
Yep.
And it's bad because, it's the whole thing of control and domineering other people. Like Jacqueline needs to be seen a certain way, and she needs to be seen by herself as somebody who is seen a certain way by other people. And this whole idea of image, this whole idea of power, she would not admit it out loud. Even the fact that she tries to gaslight by lying about this whole thing in the first place, you know, with Valentin.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such an insult to Laurie's intelligence. And I feel like she wouldn't be doing that to somebody that she actually respected. I wonder if it would have been different if Kate had come to Laurie, had come to Jacqueline one-on-one to talk about the whole Valentin thing first. But then again, Kate wouldn't do that because, you know, one man's
One man's good manners. One man's
good manners.
Another
Another
man's
fake. And Carrie Coon actually tried, you know, to make Laurie feel a certain way to the audience. Like you know, worked with the makeup people. She worked with like the people who are even like she just, even the way her nails are done, like she's essentially looking like somebody who is happy to have a break. Like she can get to luxury normally if she wanted, but she's not living the kind of life that affords her the time to be luxurious.
Yeah, I was just thinking about this episode. I was like, these guys are all individually wealthy. Like these guys can all afford their own White Lotus breaks. Like she's a lawyer, she's a partner in New York. Like I've bought enough suits to know how much that gets you. No, but I was also thinking like, I think Jacqueline is who she is in every group. You know how that thing of where you get with your high school friends, you become that age again? Like, I meet later people and I start saying things I haven't said in 15 years. I start using words that I've not used before. Or like that thing where you just kind of regress into those dynamics. And I think Jacqueline in this friendship group and Jacqueline in her other world are probably kind of similar. Like they're similar people. Kate is probably, again, that's why she's an independent now. She's probably someone who like people pleases everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think Laurie in this group kind of closes her mouth, but I think everywhere else in her life she doesn't, because she's this fancy, tough lawyer. Like I think it's only in this group that she has to change so much. And I think at this point she's like, I'm tired. Like this is literally the straw that broke the camel's back. And she's just like, so I think the dissonance is more for her, in my opinion. Like she's more of a different person in this group than she is in the rest of her world. Meanwhile, Kate and Jacqueline are kind of the same person, just a little bit maybe adjusted. Yeah, and then she goes to bed with, I can't remember Valentin's friend's name, and I was like, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, before we keep on talking about this, Ebube, do you need to go?
I kind of have somewhere to be. Yeah,
That's
unfortunately.
Fine. Well, thank you for. I was looking for a severance joke there, but thank you for offering your time. I'll insert a severance joke.
I appreciate
there
that. I'm not quite ready to give my life. There's your severance joke, but I will say that it's been fun spending time with the White Lotus, and I look forward to coming back at some point.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And like we said, please check out Ebube on Severance, a full season's worth of discussions, 12 episodes. So check that out. Wow. And then we will still be on the podcast talking about other things. Don't worry, we still have content coming up.
Yeah, which means I don't have sleep. Bye for now.
Does anyone of us have sleep? Okay. Thanks again to Ebube for dropping by from his Severance watch. Okay. So quickly, my hot take about the girlfriend. If your boyfriend is running a con to get money from an American woman, let him be. Let him be. Like if he has to sleep with one American woman to get 10K, just let him be.
Does she know he's running a con?
She probably doesn't know. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why the other side. Like
he
should have told her.
Exactly.
He doesn't want to take her back home. The moment he says, "Oh, you live in New York," I've always wanted to go. I was like, okay.
I knew it. I was just waiting for it, and he delivered it excellently.
Yeah.
It was like, so
cool,
funny.
Let's go. And then he just keeps on going. We've referenced this so many times this episode, but it's just like paper, Zelle, WhatsApp, Cash App.
Zelle.
I was like, oh my God, this guy is like, he's prepared. And Laurie did not know what to do. Laurie was like, I don't have that. Was it 10 or it was 10 he asked
10,000, yeah.
Which is funny because Greg is just waiting to give out 10 times that.
Wild.
I mean, apart from it being hilarious and everything, any kind of thoughts on this, seeing this sequence?
I was happy she got some. She,
Mhm.
you know, she needed to de-stress.
She's been stressed. Yeah.
It's been a long. How many days has it been now? 5.
5. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
6 maybe.
long, like also emotionally, because
She
all of
cried on
that
the first
happening.
night.
Yeah, and like that sort of tension and like just awkwardness within the group, like it weighs on you, and it's just I was happy for her, but then the aftermath of it, oh my God. He didn't
But-
even, did she even close her eyes? He just went straight for it. He was like, okay, yes, now payment $10,000.
It's funny. I didn't even consider it payment. That's so interesting. She didn't look like it had affected her.
What do you mean?
Like she wasn't like walking around like with the weight of the world on her back. Like
Yeah.
like she seemed to have just like rubbed it. It was like, oh, that's a funny
Yeah.
weird experience. I don't know. We'll see
Yeah.
if it has anything on her tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, yeah. Okay, should we go? I think this is the final one. Actually, we've kind of done everybody else.
Yeah.
Rick and this is his dad,
Frank.
right?
It's definitely his
This
dad.
is his dad.
It's his dad. That's his daddy.
Like, yeah. So that I wonder if is Rick going to come back to the White Lotus? Because I'm assuming Scott Glenn is coming back to see him. Like they're going to meet each other in the finale again.
They have to, yes. It just
I guess he could travel in the finale, but it's just like, yeah. Because we know we're seeing Sam Rockwell again.
Yeah.
Should we even just start with that, the relapse? I mean, we kind of talked about that at the beginning.
Let's start from the beginning, from the top. I was so annoyed. Did they not practice their con?
So, I think the show is trying to tell us that Rick is bad at this.
He is so obvious.
I was like, maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe the show is like, no, Rick is not good at this thing. Like, because even from last week, I was like, did you not like even research 1 or 2 of her films to give her a name? And
Nothing.
Even this episode, I thought like Sritala and her husband kind of already knew because they would. I think they could tell something was up, but they didn't know. Like, I guess they didn't know the extent.
Yeah, they
but
definitely could tell.
Even him calling him Frank, I was like, oh, you're not good at this. Actually,
he sucked. And his face, his entire demeanor, he wasn't even like trying to engage in the conversation that was happening with.
He left Sam Rockwell out to dry. I was like, bro, are you gonna help?
Oh my God, it was so bad. It felt like I was watching a train crash. It was too bad. He sucked at it.
I was like, guy, can you help he was just quiet. And then he finally said something about how she was going to sing. And my boy was like, you know what? My boy was like, just give me a drink, please. I need to do it. Even that, he was like, you look at, I'm sorry. I've never had this situation in front of mine who is sober decides to have a drink, but like, and then I love how the show just like, he asked like the server her name.
Yeah.
Even when he was flirting with Sritala, so you could tell like his westernesses were coming back.
I think he had like 2 or 3 just in their house. Like 2 glasses of whiskey. Yeah.
I'm sure way more than, because they switched locations. Remember, they're from outside inside. I'm sure he had quite a few.
That was really bad. Rick was horrible in this. And I guess we'll get into when he's confronting the supposed man who killed his father. What was that?
The competition?
Like, what? Come on. You made a big, like, you're just saying, yeah, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him. That's your plan.
He never said he was gonna kill him, to be fair. He did say he didn't want to kill him, actually. He said everybody's not gonna kill him.
He was just...
No, I do agree
with you. Mess.
I think it was intentionally meant to be anticlimactic. And I also think we've always assumed that Rick does this kind of stuff for a living.
Yeah.
But he probably doesn't.
Probably not, no.
He probably just knows some sketchy people, and like, because he's so clearly bad at this. He's just like I'm sure he's shot a gun before. I don't know if he's killed someone before though.
No.
Like I think he's. But even again, it's so interestingly done. Like, it's so human in that, like, we're used to seeing Goggins, for example, play a badass. Where you're like, oh yeah, he can just kill him. He can just shoot him.
Yeah.
But you're like, actually, no, that's not the human. Like, even when he tries to hit him and he can't.
He
Like,
can't
it's like,
do it.
he's just like, you're an old man. I can't really just like,
Yeah.
well, not in one of Sam Rockwell's films, the executioner,
The
the notary,
executor, the enforcer.
the notary. They were like Jason Statham films. I was just like, okay. So they
Oh,
were a trilogy. Yeah, no, and I think even the way he says his mom's name, again, I still don't understand why his mom did this. Why did his mom give Rick this guy's name and then say he's gonna killed your father?
killed
Like,
your dad. It's just, it
so
doesn't
weird.
add up.
It's so weird.
And the way the man then repeats his mom's name, it's hear him out. Like, I don't know.
But I mean, he spent 40 years, maybe almost 50 years, having this idea that this man killed his. Like, he's not going to be like, oh, wait, let me hear your side of the story.
Fair, but do something.
Yeah,
hear him out or kill him, or I don't know.
No, I think they're gonna have a scene. They're gonna have a scene at the finale. I think for sure.
I think they are.
For sure.
I think they are.
Frank does meth.
Oh.
I was like, meth?
He went from being sober to doing it all in one night.
I'm sorry, I've watched so much drug stuff. I've watched all the shows, but whenever meth comes out, I remember in Industry Season 2, when she goes to Berlin, and her brother starts, I'm like, meth? Weed, coke, ket.
Yeah, that's fine. Meth
Molly,
is wild.
When meth comes out, I'm like, oh, you guys are playing a different game. Meth? Oh, no. No, but he was having a great time.
He was having fun. He had a night.
Rick has a smile on his face at the end.
Yes. And that's... Yeah.
Yeah, what are you going to say?
No, I'm like, I want to know why he's smiling. Does he think he got closure? Is he happy?
I think he does, yeah.
Huh.
I mean, he didn't, but I think he does. Because his friend is like, Frank is like, did you get closure? He was like, yeah. It's like, that's a big monkey off your back. I think that's the first time we've seen him smile this season. At least a real smile.
It was.
And I do think he's like, he feels like he's got closure, which again, like, because if this was the end of the storyline, this was the finale, for example, I would feel very like disappointed.
Yeah.
But I think knowing that there is something coming, there's a finale, like there's another scene between them, and it's not as if I'm not looking for a big reveal because like we all think it's going to be that he's his dad. That's not like, it's not a surprise I'm looking for. I'm just like, I feel like there's another cathartic scene that is missing.
That happens.
That will happen. So I'm excited to see that. And then the episode itself ends with Tim thinking about killing his family again. These premonitions just keep on getting darker. Actually, yeah, because the first one was just him. The second one was him and Victoria.
And now
it's him, Victoria, and Saxon.
It's just because of what they're telling him. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then he goes looking for the gun. In a way that I'm like, if the gun was there, he would have done it immediately. Like, that was a resolute search.
Definitely would have done it.
Imagine being Piper and Lachlan just coming back and just seeing your parents and your brother on the floor.
Dead. Pools of blood. That's traumatizing. But yeah, I was happy he didn't find the gun because like you said, he would have done it. He would have gone through with it.
At that point. Was he wearing his Duke? He wasn't wearing his Duke shirt, was he?
No. I read the article, by the way.
Do anything you want to? For anyone who doesn't know, Duke is angry that... I'm sure you've seen that image of like him wearing the Duke shirt and him trying to kill from episode 6, I think?
Yeah.
Trying to kill himself. And after that became a meme. And Duke is angry that the character is being is being connected to Duke University.
Yeah, the VP of, let me not say too much, who knows what will happen in the future, but I think it was very silly because in that same article, he talks about how they know it's a show and it's not real. And he goes on to make a joke about at least they're not wearing the shirt doing a threesome with brother on brother action. So, it's a show. Why? It's not that serious. You're lame and you're boring. Get off your high horse,
I sent
please.
the article to Lolade, and she was very, very angry about that.
No, it
yeah.
annoyed me.
We've covered everybody. Right?
We have.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't talk about Victoria.
There isn't really much about Victoria. I mean, there's that scene where she's trying to save
so
that girl.
funny. She couldn't believe that she was actually in love with that man. She just can't fathom it. I love her. She's my MVP this season.
Do you think she is in love with that man? Do you think so back to the Saxon and Amy Lewood conversation. Obviously, I know we're generalizing.
Yeah, again, that was another example of where she was mean.
It was awful when she was like, it's you in 30 years. And she was like, I'm not trying to be mean. That's just what I see. I was like,
that is mean.
What are we doing? It was so, she was very mean. But do you think, because again, to me, I'm sorry, you might think Amy Lewood being, in this case, you might think you're different, but on the face of it, you're just the same as every other girl. You're with a balding 60-year-old man.
She is like one of those girls.
Rich, but you claim you love him, like, okay.
She is one of those girls.
I not believe another person. No, I was going to ask you if you think they love each other, but we can never really make that decision, right? It's just like, it's such a generalistic question. But yeah, I mean, I wonder when, like, the shooting happens in the finale. Because again, the thing about this, compared to previous seasons, that this death seems to be an event. Like the first one was Amon just dying by a knife in his room. Second one like happened so offshore that people only know about it when the bodies start flowing out. This one, if a shooting happens in a hotel, the whole hotel is under lockdown. Yeah. So like, is it going to be that, or is it just in that corner of the meditation? Like, how impactful is this actual event on everybody? I mean, I'm intrigued to kind of see that.
Just from the first episode, I think it does impact the entire resort.
Seems like
remember, because
right?
everybody was running around and there's like screaming and ducking. So.
Also, I guess that was what Zion was referencing when he was like, and something else, referencing the whole Greg situation. Mm-hmm. It was like, I'm stressed about finals and other things. Yeah. Okay. We'll see you next week. Guys, okay, I've said at the beginning, we're not getting screeners for the finale as expected. So we will figure out a way. We will burn the midnight oil or something. We'll figure out a way to get the episode. It won't be out immediately, obviously, but we'll try to have the episode with you as soon as possible. So please be patient with us.
Yes.
Is that good, Lolade? You good?
I'm good.
It's been almost 2 months.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, it's a bit wild to think of like that. Okay. Guys, thank you very much for listening, Lolade. Thank you once again, Ebube. Thank you for coming by. And yeah, join us next week. We're going to talk about the finale of the White Lotus Season 3.
Yes.
With Oscar winner, Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
Bye.